Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I'm back here on the QA server with the Riftwatchers cards that will be launching in 8 short days. As you can see, the cards are no longer ghosted out. That's because they added a bunch of Riftwatchers packs to my account so I could be able to open them and potentially test on the server. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to test these at any point. But I did get to open up a bunch of packs and, get all these cards leveled up here on the server. So, I've now looked at them, right? So I have a little bit of a heads up of what we're about to get into. So it will be less on the fly as the first two splinters were fire and water. But today we're going to get green, earth in the first video, and then life in the second video. Before I get into these brand new cards, just a reminder, I am Hawks21 and I cover Splinterlands on this account every single day. I am here on YouTube, I am on Twitter as well, and then I also have a Discord. So if you want more immediate access to me, Twitter and Discord is probably the place to be. But I also love my YouTube community here. So if you're new here, it would be awesome if you could like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel and we can keep this machine growing. All right, let's get into Earth. We're going to start here with the Bramble Pixie. This art is absolutely incredible. We're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to start at the max for each. So one of my complaints about Earth is I just don't think there's that many great use cases for the Splinter outside of that low mana Magic or Mylore play, which we all know. And most of us hate, including myself, because I don't have a lot of the cards that you need to run that play. So getting sort of a reach monster like this that's pretty good in reverse speed, which Earth already has a lot of great reverse speed cards. Just think early on with get this all set up. It's a rare card that I'm talking about. With the Mycelic Infantry, right, with the 1 speed, you can play it here, so you're still talking 3 attack, but you combine the Mycelic Infantry with this card behind it in a reverse speed rule set, and all of a sudden now you're doing a bunch of melee damage. So you could set up a nice little lineup with, Fernheart, or, we still have to get the Earth legendary Chaos Legion summoner at some point as well. So there's going to be other synergies here that it's going to be impossible for us to know about. So it's a little hard to talk about some of these. But I like this setup at the lowest level. I think it's a good card. The good health, high attack, good for reverse speed. Something Earth doesn't really have. So let's move on. So it doesn't get the heal until gold. So silver, it just gets better, right? You'll want to level up this card. It gets a little faster. I could totally see in silver leaving this at level 4 and just treating it as a reverse speed card, right? You're going to want to get that 4th attack, but maybe you don't want that 3rd speed, so it's better in reverse speed. If you find yourself using it mostly in that context, you're not going to want that 3rd speed. Then once you get to gold, you definitely want to obviously get the heal. It just makes it so much more dynamic of a card, right? I'm thinking poison rule sets, right? Having a reach with a heal, so you don't need to worry about triaging it or dying because of poison. It's just going to heal itself up and be able to keep attacking. You'll definitely want to get it to level 7 in gold, just because the 9 health it will now heal for 3, whereas with the 8 health it heals for 2. And then, at the highest levels, it picks up a 5th attack. So all of a sudden, 5 attack, 4 speed with the heal and reach. It's a very, very powerful card. I think it's worth the 7 mana. I think that's it might even be a little low. I could see this being an 8, or maybe even a 9 would probably be a lot. But for 7 mana, I really, really like this card. I think it brings something to the Earth Splinter that it currently doesn't have. And I think, Earth is in desperate need of some more unique cards, because right now the plays in Earth are very niche. And this is more of a dynamic card you could play in a variety of different ways, specifically at the highest level. I mean, 14 mana, you could play this with Llama, right? You could do a Llama Pixie play. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how this card gets utilized. I like it. Next we hit the Lynchin Beast. So this is a card, gets phase at level 1, which is interesting, but it's slow. So again, you're now talking a reverse speed card. It's only 5 mana though. So right, you're getting a lot of health for 5 mana. So I could see you putting in this card, right? If you were deciding between this or like the Hill Giant and you had the extra mana in a reverse speed, you might put this in. But again, maybe you don't level it up. Is the 3 speed going to make a big difference? Whereas the 2 speed keeps it better in reverse speed rule sets. I don't know. Up in silver, it obviously picks up a 3rd attack, starts getting a little faster, good health. I don't really like this card in silver. I do start to like this card once it gets the Enrage in gold. Now, you're going to want to get the speed all the way up, because now all of a sudden it gets enraged. You're talking 5 damage, 6 speed before any buffs, with the phase, all for 5 mana. Now, you start to see the vision on the card. I think this is a upper league card, more than it is a lower league card. And then obviously at the highest levels, now you're talking, it has the 10 health, and once it gets enraged, you're talking 6 speed, 6 damage with phase. Awesome card. If you're going to play the slip spawn in the back, it's the taunt with her in Earth with the magic damage. This would be a pretty nice card to have up front, right? It's going to be fast. It's going to have the enrage. Not going to cost a lot of mana. I could totally see going Lynchin Beast, Slip Spawn. Oh no, sorry, Lynchin Beast. Then the Pixie that we just talked about in the second position, and the Slip Spawn in the back with Queen Mycelia for the triage. And then there's actually a triage monster we're about to talk about. And yeah, I see the vision on this card. I like it. Specifically at the highest levels. Lower levels, don't love it. Higher levels, I'm going to want this card. Specifically, I think the 5 mana is too low for a card that has this at the highest level. Obviously, it would be great if it was 4 and could play in Little League, but that would be OP. Okay, so here's the triage that I was just teasing. So, again, I've been desperately wanting, and I've mentioned this on the previous videos, I want high mana cards that do a lot of damage, that bring support abilities, specifically triage. So, one of the main plays you run in Earth, let's just bring this up real quick actually. If we come to Earth, Modern, we type in triage. These are the 2 main ones you see, right? And then if you add in the neutral, you get the Spirit Hoarder as well. But to prove my point, right, we're talking 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. This maxes out at 1 damage. This maxes out at 2 damage. And this maxes out at 1 damage. So in rule sets, wow, this is really picked up in price. We're in rule sets in games where you have a massive mana cap and you want to run a play with the slip spawn in the back to unlock massive damage dealers in the front, and you want to keep the slip spawn alive with triages, you're forced to play cards that are 2, 3, 4 mana that don't really do any damage. So you're wasting a ton of mana, you're wasting a bunch of damage output, but if your play is to keep the slip spawn alive as a distraction, you don't really have a choice. So that's why, myself and I know other creators have been calling for cards exactly like this with support abilities like triage that also do damage. They should cost a lot of mana, but just having these options available to us in those really high mana matches to bring some of these support abilities without having to sacrifice damage. So right away, giving this to Sun, another good reverse speed card. It never really gets fast, and remember that's another thing we were watching from the previous videos. I think Riftwatchers, and I didn't actually check this as I was opening packs, but I think Riftwatchers Its downfall is going to be its slowness. Not downfall, but its weakness, right? A lot of these cards do a lot of damage. They have a lot of abilities, but they're all pretty slow. There's some exceptions, but for the most part, these are some pretty slow cards. So we got another level 1 stun. That's sort of the big thing they've added. Let's quickly go look at knockouts. So yeah, nothing, this is obviously a really expensive card. Darling's not very good, so not really a synergy there. But just the stuns are obviously great. So here when you get to silver, gets another damage. Again, good reverse speed card. It's doing a lot of damage. It's going to be really great with Fernheart, right? Because it's going to be able to attack from the first position, because Fernheart has the close range, and it has a good amount of health. Obviously it gets even better if it's in the first position and it's able to triage and continue attacking with Fernheart, and then picking up that 5th damage. This is an amazing card. It's a pretty simple card, nothing too crazy about it, so we don't have a lot to talk about, right? It's just a good old-fashioned high damage dealer with a key support ability in triage. And the stun obviously helps. And then yeah, Fernheart makes this card even better because it's going to slide into the front position. It's going to have 10 health. It's going to keep triaging the back line. It can attack, and it's going to be able to soak up some more damage. So big fan of this card. This is my favorite Earth card thus far. Excited to use it. Hopefully they don't nerf him. But I don't think he should be nerfed. He's not really overpowered. I think he's just a very useful card. We've already talked about the Shaman, because this is one of the initial cards they released and teased. Just to reiterate what I said last time, I think it's a very interesting card, specifically once it gets Giant Killer. Before it gets Giant Killer, in Bronze, before level 4, I don't really have interest in this card. It's just a recharge monster. Obviously Obsidian boosts it, so instead of 6, it'll be doing 9. But again, without some sort of ability to make recharge attack on the first turn, it's tough to just have this. But as this grows, this becomes a niche card, and as you'll see as we make our way through the Riftwatchers series, there's a ton of giants. And the airdrops themselves, I assume, are all going to be giants as we're getting them. So the Giant Killer plus the recharge makes this card really interesting, because you'll be able to one hit basically wipe out any giant. Except maybe if they have Void or something. But for the most part, it'll take you to the second turn, but in that second turn, if you're targeting a giant, you'll be able to get rid of that card. So, and if the other team's spending, massive amounts of mana, you'll see we have some huge mana numbers as we make our way through this set. But if the team's committing tons of mana to a specific monster, and you can get it out the second turn, that could swing the tides your way. Then obviously at the end picks up the Rust, which is a fantastic ability. Shield, or armor I should say, is so valuable. Specifically now with Wraith offering the Void armor. Wiping that away is awesome. So this is a great ability to add on to the end. It's the most interesting recharge monster to me. I'm going to want it. It's going to be very situational when I'm expecting, I'm going to use it a lot in 99 mana games, right? When I know that there's going to be a bunch of giants out there, now that there are just more giants in the game. So definitely a card I'm going to want, not a card I'm going to play a lot though. But when I do play it and in its situation, it's going to work really well. Okay. Fernheart, we already talked about. I like the Summoner. And specifically, we talked about this last card. Look at this. First, the art. This art is absolutely incredible. I think the lore gives you oh yeah. Look at this art. This art is amazing. Probably one of my favorite works of art. Maybe to date in Splinterlands. But this card is insane. So it's not a taunt. It has no abilities, right? Normally when you see a card this size with this amount of health, you're like, oh, this must be a taunt or something. Not a taunt. So it is a backline card as well. So it's not even a tank. It is a backline card. It has 13 health across the board. Both of these attacks can fire in every rule set from the back line. So right away, you're talking, again, it's slow, so 2 speed also across the board. So reverse speed again. Earth is becoming sort of a reverse speed play. But you can see both of these attacks hit, right? And they're 2 separate attacks, which is great. So like opportunity rule sets, you're going to be firing at the weakest monsters in 2 separate attacks. And as you can see, you might be like, oh, well, it's only 4 damage. Yeah, at level 1, and you're probably not going to be able to get this out there in bronze unless they're putting out a ton of, unless they increase the mana cap. But every level, basically, what's increasing with this card is its attack. That's the only thing that increases. So here, now you're doing 5 total damage. Now you're doing 6 total damage. The highest level, you're going to be doing 7 total damage from the back line. And now think about some of the summoner synergies as well. First of all, imagine this in a close range rule set with Llama, right? So it'd have to be close range, obviously, because going in the last stand, it would be in the first position, and if you can't do the range attack, it's less cool. But you're talking, you'd be doing 5 magic damage, 6 archery, so 11 total damage, and then you would have 20 health. So you'd be putting out a ton of damage with it in last stand if you had close range for 20 mana. So not bad. There's other synergies. So Obsidian, right? You put this out there with Obsidian, and now you're doing 8 damage every single turn from the back line. Fernheart, you're doing 7 damage from the back line. This slides into the first position. You still get to do the 7 damage because Fernheart gives it close range. So it's going to be a great card. It's going to be a sneak protector, right? With the, not because of like elusiveness or anything, but just it has 13 health. So you're going to be able to triage it up. You know, we just got a triager that can do a ton of damage. So, you know, in a 99 rule set, you're going to be able to play this, play the slip spawn, play another triager, and all of a sudden you're going to be putting out huge amounts of damage. So this card's really, really fun. But this card is another example of, you know, a situation that makes the shaman interesting. Because this is going to take out this card in 1 hit. So you kind of get what I'm saying, where this card's going to be situational, but in those situations, I think he's going to have a really high win rate. But yeah, those are the Earth cards. I like a lot of them. I think this card's fantastic. I'm excited to use this card. I think this card's just very, very solid, right? It's nothing crazy, nothing special. I think it's worth the 7 mana, and having a heal reach monster is great. And this card's going to be so much fun. I'm curious how much it's going to get used. But in certain contexts, in really high mana matches, has a lot of synergies with the summoners. I think it's going to be a card I want. It's going to be a card I try to play. I'm going to experiment with. I think the upside of a card like this is very, very high. Okay, I'm going to stop it here. That was the Earth Splinter. Out of all of them, you know, I didn't love all of the water ones. Some of them are useful. I've seen some video here of now the Refugee, which has gotten me more excited than I originally was when I put out the video. And then Fire has some good cards. But I would say Earth might be my favorite right now. You know, we have to go through the rest of them and we'll see if I change my tune, but I really like a lot of these Earth cards. All right, so that is the Earth Splinter. Next is going to be Life. You can expect that later this evening. I will release it. But until then, I hope you're enjoying the game and getting ready for all the fun stuff that's coming out. Today is the Tower Defense launch, and I'm personally not participating, but if you do, I hope you get all of the packs you're looking to get. I hope it's run really, really smoothly and there are no complaints. And then on Thursday, we have the whitelist for Roonies that I'm excited for. I have my vouchers ready. And, you know, I expect those to go very, very, very quickly. So hopefully I can get one, but we'll see. All right. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you around the game.